So it's raining. So this is my final phase of contemplating how to dispose of the dead. Okay. I don't usually have to think much about it, but it's actually kind of crazy. Compared to when I was a kid, and I just, I figure you just, go to the funeral home and bury them and that's it. But no, it's like adults have to think about smoldering bones, and then not really sure what to do. But it's raining, so I was just saying I made a short because I wanted to talk about the not transferring, what's the word? Not like aggregating, but like moving. Like, what's the word for like like if files are not exported, not imported. Shoot. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I've been seeing content that had been like mostly on Facebook, on YouTube. And I had seen some Facebook stuff on Instagram, but it was sort of more of the same. I don't know, what the like marketing scheme is. Maybe, oh my gosh. The word is just like, I'm having a memory lapse today. Because I lost my train of thought earlier when I was here trying to talk about like implied value. I can't think well, but basically, you can't just like post the same thing over and over again. I think, people have caught on how it's fair to say that people are, resigned to post frequently. But yeah, it's just, it sort of seems like, I've said a lot about these parody personalities, and when there's like a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen or whatever, and they're sort of like being promoted at the same time, it's pretty effective. I mean, I wanted to make a point of mentioning that it's maybe, the most grounded utility of social media. yet, but, you know, and that goes for a lot because we got Cameo out there and other things like, I don't know, what's other kinds of alternative social media? I don't know, Horizon, you know, you're playing these like virtual reality role play games. That's like social media, um, by a social media company. So, uh, but yeah, so, um, it's virtual reality. It's it's not really an interpretation. It's pretty straightforward impressions, and you know, I think that seeing them side by side like that sort of helps to you know, create some awareness that like people are acting and they are acting extreme, even, you know, in like seemingly like, you know, silly situations, you know, that's a large part of being a kid is like acting out and having to figure out if that was authentic for you or not. And yeah, and I think, you know, it's a good thing for this post-paternalistic society. I was saying, you know, it's a fine line, adulteration and being paternalistic. Um, and yet, you know, we're not supposed to, uh, you know, tell people how, but, you know, people still need to be led and yeah, it's just kind of more insightful, you know, uh, like how selfish it comes across, you know, when people are playing the main character, you know, thinking that, you know, you can get away with it because it's clearly, you know, a amusement. But the thing, you know, is that like it's difficult to try and pinpoint where people realize that caring for themselves means caring for others. You know, it's not really something that gets flipped a switch or that you have to be taught. You're more like born knowing that. And if you've never been in a position to examine how that's true, you know, you're worse for it. Maybe you have to put some effort forth into, you know, recognizing how, you know, if your environment or your community or whatever is more stable, how you benefit from that. You know, thinking about it a little bit differently. maybe it is more mature, but ultimately I think it is more aligned with being, you know, innocent and youthful. So yeah, there's a gap between, you know, like I was thinking, you know, like if you ever start to laugh when you're crying and like how sort of like shitty that feels. But like you abandoned your sadness, you know. But at the same time it's like, well, if there's a good reason, there's a good reason. Um I don't know what else I was gonna say, but yeah, we want to be young and we want to be privileged because that's a sign of care, you know, that uh, you'll never be healthier than when someone else is genuinely invested in your welfare. You know, it's just the sad truth. Um, that, you know, we really do need to be, uh, you know, addressed, you know, as a, you know, a society. And, and so, uh, you know, it might seem like, maybe, you know, too much responsibility, um, stick with it until, you know, you see that silver lining, because ultimately living day to day is a lot more difficult than, you know, having a designated, you know, plan of action. And, you know, ultimately, we need our friends to feel that way too.